the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
Welcome to ResiWeek. This is your weekly wrap-up of all the latest news and stories for the residential AV industry. I'm your host, Matt D. Scott for AVNation.tv. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by Stephen Bronner. You know him from Pro Audio Georgia. How you doing, brother?
Outstanding, my friend. Happy to be here. Enjoying life.
Good. Glad to have you here. Then we're joined by my good buddy, Tim Albright. He is the founder of this little company we're all a part of, AVNation. How are you, bud?
I am well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. You are better dressed than me today.
That's very unusual. So
it is. It happens very rarely.
Once a year. So this.
But it's been busy. I was on a site this morning, and yeah, stuff happens.
So was I actually.
Everybody's on sites. It's a busy day. All right, let's kick this off with kind of the story that everybody's talking about. If you haven't heard, this is kind of a big deal. I'm not breaking anything, but if you haven't heard, Samsung, our favorite manufacturer of explosive phones, is buying Harman, our favorite manufacturer of big, massive speakers and lighting and all kinds of goodies. I think the largest not independent, but the largest AV company in the world has just been bought by, or in the pro AV market, I should say, has just been bought by Samsung. This is a huge deal. They're buying them for $8 billion. They are planning to run them as a subsidiary for the foreseeable future, and they're paying about 28% over the existing stock price. So if you look back to the start of the year, Harman was trading around 61, and as of end of day yesterday, it was around 112. So a huge increase over the last year, but B, just a massive shift. I don't think I can underestimate how large of a shift this is for our industry. Now, the one thing I will say is that we in the industry, obviously, we love Harman for things like, JBL, things like Crown amps, things like Martin lighting. The rest of the world does not know Harman for those products. Huh?
I was gonna say, don't forget AMX as well.
Well, yeah, AMX and no, all the brand BSS, all the guys under their umbrella, but they're not well known for that to the general populace. And this is what Samsung has gone after. Samsung has essentially bought Harman because it gets their foot in the door to the automotive industry. Harman has last year had, what was it, $3 billion of their sales. That percentage was all automotive, and they had 24 billion in back orders. Like it's absolutely insane. Stephen, what does this, as a residential dealer, what does this sale, when it goes through potentially in a couple of months, what does this mean for you?
For those of you not watching, Steven
I
just put up
quit.
a poster that said WTF.
I quit. That's what it means. I freaking quit.
I applaud you for helping us maintain our rating, though. Thank you.
Earlier
That's
this
fantastic.
year, my package got bought by another company. I about had a meltdown. Now you are telling me that the king of race to the bottom TV prices has bought a quality line like Harman. Just absolutely floors me. I can't.
Okay. Hang on for a second, and I'll get to what I'm going to say in a second. But Samsung is not race to the bottom. There are so many more people ahead of them on the race to the bottom.
They're the big boys racing to the bottom.
Vizio, come on.
Well, now, okay. So
They're
I'll
not
put it to you like
Panasonic
this.
or Pioneer from years ago, but they're not race to the bottom.
Right, but I'll put it to you like this. When it comes to our industry, I only focus on what affects us.
Okay.
Of all the TV lines that we can carry, our lowest profit margin is on Samsung.
Okay.
If you can buy it in Best Buy for $1,100, my cost on it is $10.
$1,100.
Yeah, it's about $10,080. Yeah. So when I say race to the bottom, I mean, as far as profits go, you're right. They're not the cheapest TVs on the market. I mean, there will always be a Vizio, but there is, what you do have to think about is, what affects our industry. That affects our industry. I hear a lot of guys say, I don't even sell TVs anymore. Well, they do that because brands like Samsung have made it where it's not worth our time to sell TVs. There was a time whenever it was worth it. Panasonic, Pioneer, things of that nature. But right now, it's not really worth our time anymore to sell it. And that's why a lot of people stop selling TVs. So now I have a line like Harman, which is a high quality, extremely valuable line. I mean, like you said, AKG, Soundcraft, Crown Audio, JBL speakers. You're talking about huge variety of
and all quite profitable lines too.
Very profitable, and that's my
dealer.
concern. So they say they're going to run it as a subsidiary, which is great, but everybody says that. So nobody wants to buy a company and then come right out and say, "Oh, and by the way, we're going to trash a lot."
Now keep in mind that when you look at the numbers, the reason that Samsung went after them is because Samsung's been trying to get into that automotive infotainment market, and this is the way to do it. Is you buy arguably the largest single source supplier of infotainment systems to the automotive industry. They run brands like Land Rover, Jaguar, Mercedes, BMW. They're in Audis. I could go on, VW. They're gigantic.
Just for people who are listening, to this and don't know what we're talking about, when you see Mark Levinson, that's Harman.
That's Harman.
So
even they're even licensing the B&O line, and
right.
and I'm blanking on the other big line. B&O and
no, they're actually licensing the Harman name. Some of it is licensed Harman.
Oh yeah, no,
and
they're one of the biggest players in that game. Now, where this becomes entertaining from the automotive side, and then Tim will get your thoughts on it, is Apple's been trying to make a push for this for quite a while, and one of the story we're using on this is excuse me, from CNBC with Matt Money and Jim Cramer. He said back in January that Apple should pony up $9 billion and buy Harman. And some of us got excited when that was announced because Apple buys a lot of stuff, and I'd love to see them play in this game. But Tim, give us your thoughts in general, but then follow it up with your thoughts on Apple's supposed push for the automotive market now that Harman is owned by Samsung.
So I'm gonna try to be very, very careful here because we've got 2 weekly shows. A bunch of the guys got online.
I am stealing as much possible.
Well, no. Here's the thing.
Stuff from your Friday show.
I'm going to try to focus.
I'm coming for your Friday show.
You and Coxon and Tucker.
No, I want your Friday show.
A bunch of folks did a really good job of doing some immediate feedback last night as well. So residential and home people, right? I would make an argument to say that there are some people out there who do know who Harman is. There's a Harman Kardon speakers out there, but Bluetooth as well as consumer products.
Yep, JBL headphones and
yep, absolutely, JBL headphones. You've got a lot of folks and they're pushing more and more into this over the last few years. This is going to open up. And I'm going to be interested to watch this and talk to folks like Steven and you guys. Matt, to see if this helps or hurts those margins, Stephen, because one thing that Harman has done as a corporation is they package their deals, right? They have packaged their products. If you buy a Crown amp and JBL speakers and an AMX system, you're going to get margin off, right? You're going to get some leeway to play with.
4%.
Okay, whatever it is, and your
Yep.
may be different. So again,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but you're going to get some percentage points off if you package together a deal. How much better and how much more incentive would it be then to suddenly be given a line of Samsung or be given access to that line, where today you don't, where today, like Steven said, you don't make money off of that. Now that's me looking through rose-colored glasses. I think it's very possible. I think it's even probable, especially as Samsung walks down this road and they start talking with the folks at Harman and looking into the dealer channel.
So here's on that point. Here's where it gets more fun. Think in that channel. Think in that line. Think about the connected device capability of a Samsung TV and a Samsung Blu-ray player.
Yep.
Now think about adding that technology and merging that technology with a Harman Kardon receiver
Or an AMX processor.
or an AMX processor, or using AMX power behind your Samsung remote.
I'll do one better for you. How about putting an SVSI receiver built into a Samsung display?
Yeah. And then that takes their commercial display line, which again, I'm stealing your Friday stuff, and makes it a fantastic off-the-shelf instant plug-and-play compatibility. That one-wire plug-and-play compatibility that we've been thinking about and asking for what, 10 years?
Something like that. So
everything that we wanted HDMI to be is now possible with potentially an SVSI endpoint on a Samsung display.
Mm-hmm. Built in without
built in.
So the other side of this is the negative side, right? The glass half empty side. Samsung and Harman have both had issues over the last year when it comes to security and product rollouts. Samsung, obviously, the fact that you can't even carry a Samsung Note 7 onto a plane would be an issue.
Or one of their washing machines.
Or one of washing machines.
Both of those are bad.
Harman, their infotainment system has been hacked and controlled. And almost this time last year was when the AMX story with the backdoor started to come out a little bit. That was more 1st of January, but this is when they were starting doing some of the testing. So both companies have had some serious PR issues over the last year. It'll be very, very interesting to watch how they handle that going forward. Well,
I'm glad that you're able to look at it through rose-colored glasses, and that's really awesome. I admire that about you.
Bring us down, Stephen.
You're my hero. So on the flip side of that, you and I have had this conversation a few times that you don't sell product. You don't sell. And so
even in my working world, I was a programmer. So
right. So from a person who sells product and has actually had to watch those margins and those things, I can tell you that just like I referred to package earlier, Control 4 bought package, and the first thing they said was, we're not going to touch the line. We're not doing anything with the line. And next thing I know, they're dropping all the prices. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's good. That means more people can have it. The problem is now when I need support on a package product, the wait times are longer because now you've got more people that have it that don't have the experience. So there's
to counter that point,
sword.
or to at least make a comment on that point. You're also talking two dramatically different scaled companies, size-wise. So,
right, but what
package and Control 4, they could make that shift fairly quickly, whereas with Harman and Samsung, that's going to take some time. You're not going to move that ship that quickly.
It will, and you are absolutely 100% correct. It will take time. I guess the cynic, and normally I have a really nice outlook on things. I try to be real positive, but the cynic in me has already had to go through this once this year, and here's another line. And to be honest with you, I just got off the phone with a guy who I'm designing a system for him. I do consulting around the country. And I just talked him into going Harman And one of the reasons why was because of the product, the profit margin and the quality of the product. Now, quality is first always. But we were talking about other products that are quality, and we ended up going the Harman route because of the multi-line discounts that Tim spoke of, and some other discounts that we get as direct dealers, and the fact that we can make money on it and sell a quality product. So I don't have a problem necessarily with Samsung buying them. I see all these acquisitions happening, and I see everybody say, we're not going to touch the line. And when was the last time you were in a room full of executives, people that were able to make it to the point where they're an executive in a company like Samsung, and there weren't enough egos in the room to want to touch everything in there? I mean, seriously, think about it. We've got a president now that was talking about how he had the power to grab a woman. You know, these are high ego people. They are not going to leave this line alone, because if they leave it alone, then it makes it look like they have no control over it. So hopefully they will. Hopefully they will. But man, can you? So it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. I wish they would have bought Bose. It made more sense.
Now, just so we put everything in context, Steven did not know this until 5 minutes ago before we told him right before we were in the air.
So he's dealing with some sticker shock. He's been underwater with a project. So here's my last question on this topic before we let it go. Given, Tim, your very sunny view on this acquisition, and Stephen, given your possibly darker view on it, what is the likelihood that Samsung, being the behemoth that it is, and if all the reports are true, that it went after Harman strictly for the automotive side and the potential IoT CE side of things, what's the likelihood that Samsung really doesn't mess with the Pro AV side? Because honestly, they just don't care.
Steven says 0.
Can't see
that. And it was a big fat 0 to be specific, if you're not watching the stream.
I just, we deal with the top 1 to 2% income earners on a daily basis. You get to know these people, you get to know how they think, you get to admire how they think, you see them make a living and make a fortune out of nothing sometimes. The thing I have known to be consistent is they want to touch everything. They want to be involved. You can't just hand them something like that and then not look at it and go, how can I improve this? Well, Harman got to where it is. You bought them because they were great. Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. And I think the best way I can sum this up is from a great movie. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
I'll make this very short, sweet, and to the point. There's a very good possibility that Samsung really did just want it from the infotainment side. Matt mentioned the fact that there's $24 billion in backlog. That is for the car division. There's also a very good possibility that we're going to see, a Crown booth again, a JBL booth again, a AMX booth again. And what I'm saying is there's a very good chance that Samsung may sell off those pieces that they either don't understand or don't have any use for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very, very possible, as Stephen goes into a bigger meltdown. You take a moment, Stephen. We'll move on to our next topic. CE Pro is reporting as of a couple of days ago from Jason Knott. He's a regular on our show, that AVAD is initiating a radical business model change. They were acquired back in July by Kingswood Capital, I believe out of the UK, if memory serves. And they're going to be making a couple of changes. Some of the biggest changes are they are looking at, they're closing a couple of branches. We'll start off with that. I think there's 3 that are being closed: Livermore, California, Chesterfield, Missouri, and Edison, New Jersey. But they're also going to expand some of their others. So it's kind of a loss win, maybe. I don't know. And not only expand them, but also relabel them as experience centers, make it, if kind of reading between the lines, make their branches someplace that dealers can bring clients to look at products that they may not showroom themselves. The other big move is that they're expanding their sales force, their field sales force, to help expand the market and blend their national and regional call centers. This is a bit of a big approach and a change in approach for them. The last thing that they're doing is they're looking at launching an information base and a purchasing base of a web and mobile payment platform, or not payment, but portal platform that'll allow people to buy products, share ideas, and receive training. This is not, this is not unexpected in the industry, but it is a bit of a major move for AVAD. Stephen, are you excited to hear this, that AVAD's kind of maybe growing and moving forward in a way that they maybe haven't done in the last couple of years?
So I started my company buying from Circuit City, and then one day a guy walked in that on a project I was on, and we were talking, and he asked me if I'd ever heard of AVAD. And I started shopping at AVAD, and I made some of the greatest relationships to this day that I have in our industry through my relationship with AVAD and people that worked there at one time or another. AVAD, that was then custom sales. I love it, but what it became as Ingram Micro took over was not something that I loved. It got very clumsy. They tried to centralize everything, and it just doesn't work. We live in a relationship-based industry, a relationship-based business model. So to hear that AVAD is changing its tune, getting back to more relationship, putting more people in the field, being bought by the guys, industry guys again, not a bunch of guys sitting around a conference table. These are guys that have been in our industry. They know what it takes. They know about relationships. It excites me. My relationship with AVAD has been severely damaged, and that is no big secret in my area. But I will say this: that knowing that AVAD is taking a look and they're saying, okay, we realize that we have some failures. We realize we need to make some changes. It makes me happy, because once again, I can go back to AVAD if I want to. I can go back and start that relationship again. This is the one that got me turned on to RTI, Lutron, Panamax. I mean, these are all brands to this day that I still carry heavily in my company. And I think it's a great thing. I really do. I think it's a phenomenal thing. I just hope that as these guys move forward, they try to, you never want to tell somebody go back to what you were, but what I will say is what they were when I started shopping with them was amazing for dealers. And all I hear now is about how people can't stand going there because it takes an hour and a half to get out of the door with anything. And so I hope that they go back to that relationship base. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I guess you could say I'm cautiously optimistic.
Very good. Tim, is this so when they were bought, we kind of looked at it and we talked about it on this show when they were purchased. They were purchased by some VC people, if I remember correctly, but a company that is active in our industry. Is this a response to them trying to address the bottom line and strictly go after, better sales and more effective sales? Or is this a two-phase approach of them understanding that, maybe AVAD lost its way when it was purchased by Ingram Micro, and, there might have been a lot of dealers like Stephen who were unhappy with some of the shifts? Is this more of the financial side of this, the bottom line side of this, or is this more, trying to better service their dealers, realizing that their bottom line will benefit from that?
It looks like a bottom line decision, right? Stephen mentioned in the last segment we were talking about Harman. He hasn't met an executive yet who doesn't like tinkering with companies that they purchase. Investment firms inherently look at ways to improve and ways to get a return on their money. That's the whole idea. Is you put $100 in, you want to get $110 out, or $150 out, or whatever. The way you do that is either by buying a company, you buy a company inexpensively because they're doing something incorrectly. They're doing something where they're not as valuable currently as they maybe were 5 or 10 years ago. And then you make changes to that company. That's probably why I don't put much stock in Samsung not touching Harman. It's why I don't put much stock in this being altruistic. You do things like shutting down systems and stores to recoup some of those costs, right? A brick and mortar store, most of you guys know this, costs money to run. You have either rent or you have the taxes if you own the building. You have utilities, things of this nature. If you can cut back on some of those that either aren't performing well or are losing you money, and you enhance the ones that are making you money to hopefully make some more. So I see it a little bit more like the cost cutting savings as an initiative, but it's going to help in the long run. It's going to serve their at least the ones that they're not shutting down, the ones where the stores are still there. It's going to help them, sell more product, hopefully.
Very good. Do we have time for one more? Shall we cover one more real quick?
We shall.
Sure. We got 5 minutes.
All right, we got 5 minutes, people. Residential systems. This comes to us from Matt, and I'm sorry, Matt, I can't pronounce your last name. I know. I'm sorry. I feel bad. Prusnik? Is that correct? Ah, that's right. Legrand launches Elio, which is their new IoT program, and I may have pronounced that incorrectly as well. This is kind of a big deal. Legrand is obviously going after the IoT market, and they're looking at this and realizing how many connected products they have in the field through all of their different lines, and looking to create this new Internet of Things initiative that should enhance built environments for both residential and commercial. Stephen, is this something, now keep in mind, they are connected with Alexa and Samsung and Cisco and some other companies, not countries, although Cisco could be a country. Is this something that we expected them to do? But more importantly, is this something that you want Legrand to play in as far as being a hub?
Honestly, not really.
Is this just more of the same of everyone trying to be the centralized hub of IoT?
I think that people have a lot of these companies have lost their way trying to be all things to all people. So I like Legrand because the things that it does in each of its subsidiaries is phenomenal. I mean, let's not overlook the fact that they have Middle Atlantic. They have Middle Atlantic is now, they always have been, in my opinion, the best rack company, custom rack shelves. Other companies don't even try to make custom rack shelves because they know, there's no use in competing. So, I mean, the brands that are in there and the people that are in Legrand do so well. And now here you have Legrand trying to be all things to all people. I'll refer to another brand. Lutron is a great example. I once asked the Lutron guys, and on their new dynamic keypads, they have an audio selection, and they'll do Sonos. And I asked the Lutron guys, I said, "Oh, are you guys going to get into audio distribution and audio?" And they said, "No, we're a lighting company. You control that stuff to an extent, and it is very limited. But we're a lighting company. That's what we do, and they're damn good at it. They are, in my opinion, they're the best. And they're the industry standard. So do I want Legrand to play in that sandbox? Not really, because I feel like it's taken away from development of other things that they could do. Their Middle Atlantic power products don't have an app like the Blue Bolt does through Panamax. They could take the time that they're investing. If they would have an app where I can access the stuff remotely through my phone, I would switch over to the Middle Atlantic power products. But things that I have personally heard people ask for at CEDIA and other gatherings, now they're focusing on IoT. That's a control thing. That's not even something they're good at. I don't mind them trying. It's not my company. I don't care. But is it something I wish they would focus on? Absolutely not. I wish they would focus on doing more of what they do best.
Tim, looking at this, they mention that they have 22 million connection points that are connected outlets, lighting controls, aux sensors, things like that. Stephen does raise a good point of staying in your lane. Is this something where they're trying to build this as part of their lane, or is this something where they're kind of off and hopefully not going to run this out as the next and another wink?
Yeah, I have given up on people staying in their own lane. I really have, and 10 years ago.
So it's only Lutron. Yes.
No, I would agree with you. The 10 years ago that Extron made some really great switchers, Crestron made really great control, Biamp made really great audio. All three of those companies play in each other's space now, right? I think what Legrand is doing here is they're kind of they're betting on their engineers' smarts and getting more into the residential world, actually, whereas the way I grew up with Legrand, it was commercial, right? You didn't get Legrand products unless it was through an electrical contractor, or if you had a Granger account, you got Middle Atlantic through a dealer, right? This, that, and the other. These were commercial grade products, and now Legrand is pushing more and more into residential. I think IoT makes sense for them. I'll be interested to see how it plays out. They're pushing more and more into that space. They had a huge booth at CEDIA this year with a lot of interesting things. They're
really nice booth.
Yeah, really nice booth. Really interesting things. They had control, which I'm interested in because I'm a control geek, and I've not played with the interface yet. But from a user standpoint, the control was pretty spot on. They have audio distribution platform, which again looks very interesting, and the price point is right. Stephen mentioned the power products that Middle Atlantic has come out with the last year. Middle Atlantic probably had it's going to sound weird, the most innovative power product of the last few years in their distribution.
DC. Yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Love that thing.
And it was one of those where you looked at it and go, well, duh, why didn't somebody else come and think of this, right? It was beautiful. But to his point, they are also missing some things that dealers are looking for, things like apps, things like interfaces in the power products and things of that nature.
Yeah, it's something. Go ahead.
Don't they have Vantage?
Yes.
So I mean, just going to put this out there and let everybody kind of mull this over. Vantage started off as a lighting company, and then they decided they wanted to do audio. They wanted to do control stuff. And when Vantage was a lighting company, they did some things pretty good. I would say they were probably second behind Lutron in lighting. Then they dove into the control and destroyed the line. When was the last time you were on any project and you saw a long-lasting Vantage control system or Vantage audio system? I mean, honestly, in my area of the country, we don't even see Vantage lighting. They took a line that was growing, a great line, and had a lot of potential, and then tried to be all things to all people. And now you see where they are. Now they're kind of a sub-note to our industry. So what I will say is those who don't study history are bound to repeat it, and we'll see where this IoT goes.
Very good. And that sums up our show for today. We're going to end on Stephen's low note because he's been so grumpy the entire show.
I can't help it. They bought Harman. Are you kidding me?
Stephen's going to be mulling on that all day.
And then you drop it on me like I'm prepping. I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready for the show. I log in. We're getting ready. And you go, oh, Stephen, by the way, somebody bought your absolute favorite line in the world.
And not,
Here, enjoy this show.
it's not like Mercedes bought BMW where you're like, they're both awesome. Yay!
Oh, and it's not like when Behringer bought Midas.
No, it's I don't know. I still, I saw this, I think 5 a.m. on Monday morning when it was.
Dude, I need a vodka and a Xanax. That's what I need right now. Vodka and Xanax.
Wow.
These people are killing me, man. Absolutely killing me. You know what? It may be, like we said, it may be a great thing. I'm a little pessimistic because I know how great the Harman line is. And so I'm a little disappointed, but honestly, it may turn out to be great.
So seriously, Samsung, don't screw this up. That's
Dude,
the point of the show.
I'm telling you. I'll be in a picket line over in Korea throwing a fit. I'm telling you. They won't even be able to understand me, but I'll be screaming it in English. Y'all suck. I'm telling you. So, but no, that's and I know this show has come off as kind of pessimistic for me, but honestly, this is a line that I really cherish. And then as far as the IoT thing goes, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm more trying to be more realistic and look at the history and say, hey, you tried this once before and it almost killed you. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Them going into IoT is not going to affect bent metal. So Middle Atlantic is going to be just fine. And so, I mean, if it does bite them, it doesn't affect me that much. But I just wish that they would focus. I know for 3 years in a row, we've asked Middle Atlantic for a remote app for their power products. And for 3 years in a row, they have told me very clearly they have no intention of ever doing that. And now they want to do IoT. How are you going to do IoT without remote access? You're killing me, Smalls.
Beautiful. All right, Stephen, where can people connect with you and send you hate mail?
At the local liquor store after this show. You can find me at proaudiogeorgia.com, proaudioga on Twitter. Just look me up anywhere where you see Pro Audio. I'll probably be there. That's my thing.
Beautiful. Thank you for being here. Timothy, where can people find you?
In St. Louis, just in general. You can find me
not in Canada yet. You're not moving?
No, I'm not moving to Canada.
Because last night on our show talking Samsung, like half the panel said they were coming to live with me.
Well, that's fine for them.
I said no.
I have a bigger faith in our democracy and our representative government. So.
Oh, I was just talking about the Harman thing.
Well,
they're just running away.
All right. AVNation.tv is the website, and you can find me on Twitter at PD Tim David Albright.
Beautiful. And for myself, you can find me at Matt D. Scott on Twitter and pretty much every other social platform. But more importantly, please stop by AVNation.tv. You'll find this show as well as a wide variety of other shows that cover all the Pro AV verticals that we here cover. When you are at our website, please stop by and check out the underwriters. They support us, and we would appreciate it if you would let them know that you appreciate their support of us and how appreciative everyone is. Everyone will be appreciative. It's great. But again, stop by AVNation.tv. That is all the time we have for this episode of ResiWeek.